Hey guys, welcome back to our core data project. Quite an important one today. We're going to actually add core data into our project, so we're no longer going to use our dummy array that we've set up. So let's just have a quick look where we are. So at the moment we've got a dummy list. We can add teams in from our create teams controller. We've got a cancel button and a save button. So yeah, today we're going to be actually wiping out that test array and replacing that with a core data model. So yeah, let's jump straight into it. Should be a good one. Okay, so here we go guys. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to head over to our model because we no longer need this anymore. So we're going to comment that out and we're going to go up and add a new file. So right click new file and we're going to choose a data model. So this is core data and we'll call it FIFA tracker. You can call it whatever you like, but FIFA tracker seems like a good name. And this is core data, so let's have a look. We click into here. So this is core data. What we need to do, on the bottom left we've got add entity. So think of this like a table. If you know how databases work, this is kind of like a table. It's probably the most similar thing. So let's rename that to, we'll call it teams. And then under attributes, we need to just say name, which is going to be our team name. It's going to be of type string. So that's pretty simple. It's nothing too strenuous there. So head over to Teams Controller. We've got an array here, which has got some test teams in there. So this is no longer needed. That doesn't exist because we've just commented out teams. So we can just comment this out. We're not going to use it. Now once we do this and we do a build, we're going to get a few errors. Let's create a blank array called core data teams, and this is going to be our new core data array. So it's going to be a blank array, and this is going to use our teams in core data. So don't be alarmed and panic because you're going to see a few errors. So let's have a look. Yeah, we've got a few errors, but we'll fix these now. So yeah, it's not finding anything, but that's fine. So what we need to do to get rid of all these, I know that we've added our teams entity, so it's just not finding them at the moment, but that's okay, because what we're going to do, yeah, so we've got errors there. I mean, a lot of that just seems to be, it's just going to be a renaming exercise. But what we'll do, we'll just create a new file. What we're going to do, we're going to use something called a singleton. So this is a way we're going to manage our core data. And a singleton pattern is basically where you constrain the instantiation of classes to a single class. That's perfect for what we want because we only want one context throughout our app. I see a few people doing this and getting a few weird errors in core data, so that's probably because they don't understand how the context gets thrown around in core data. So we just want one of them. So we're going to do this with a struct core data service, create a static let called shared, and point it at our core data service. Now we have to utilize the persistent container. So we'll just create a closure constructed. So persistent container of type ns persistent container. Obviously we're importing core data as well. Now we have to create a container. So let container equals ns persistent container, and it's going to be of type FIFA tracker. That's what we call our model. So under there now we just have to use this container. So container.load persistent store. We'll use a completion handler. Just call this store manager and an error. This error is an optional, so we do have to unwrap it. So we'll unwrap it with the if let because we are going to return a print statement. So we just say unable to load persistent storage or stores. Should be fine. And then just print the error. And then all being well, we'll just return the container. So nothing too strenuous there. We're just creating a singleton so we can just use this throughout the application once, so we don't get any weird errors. So we're still getting a few errors, but now we can see our teams has come to life. If we just head over there, we can see that teams is of type NSManageObject, which is exactly what we want. So we can now head over to, we need to do something. The way we're saving teams at the moment is not correct. So we're in create teams controller. If we come down to handle save, so all of this is actually incorrect because we're not gonna need any of this anymore, so we'll just comment that out for now. And the way we're gonna save, we're gonna use our singleton that we just created. So we're gonna create a context of type coredataservice.shared.persistentcontainer.viewContext. So this is our context. So there's only one of these. And then we're going to create a team. And this team is going to be NS. Well, we need to import coredata first. We should have access to that now. If you just build, there we go. So let team type NS entity description, and in order to do this we need to insert a new object into our entity, which is called teams, and then we're just going to use the context above. And then it's really easy to set a name, so it's just team.setValue, and then the value is going to be whatever we're entering into the text field. So it's just namefield.text like we did above, and the key is going to be name, which is what we named the field in coredata to capture our team names. Now again, this is going to throw, so we do have to use something called a do catch let block, and this is just a way of error handling. So we just say catch let error, and then we're just going to print unable to load context and return the error. And then inside here we have to say try context.save, and it does throw. So we can just wipe that context.save out above because we don't need it. Now we're not actually doing anything, so we do need to dismiss like we did above. So animated, and then we do have to do something in the completion block like we did above. And we can utilize the delegate, so self.delegate.add team. And then we can just, this is actually of type NSManageObject, which is not correct, so we do need to cast this. So we just say team as, and then teams, and then that is now correct. We should be able to build that now. We're still going to get some errors. And that's just, yeah, so build failed. It should just be a matter of a renaming exercise now. So let's head back over. So we can now see we've got, yeah, so we're trying to append to our old array. It's now called coredata teams, so we just need to change that. So coredata teams.append the teams that we're passing in. New index path, oh, cancel that. Yeah, the new index path, team.count is again wrong. We need to use coredata teams, which is our one there. So the logic's the same. So that fixes those errors. We're still getting a few weird ones. They shouldn't be complaining. We'll come back to them. And then team.count is now coredata teams.count. So the number of teams in our coredata array. And down here, it's not teams, it's not team anymore, it's coredata teams, indexpath.row, and then it's actually .name, which is what we named it in coredata. So let's build that again. And there it is, it comes to life. I think, so we've just named, it's basically just renaming, because we're not using this dummy team array anymore. We're basically just using our core data teams. So we've had to do a little bit of renaming, which is part and parcel of switching over to core data, but that's fine. And we should be able to, so yeah, name there is actually, that's the field in core data. So we should be able to run this now, and hopefully shouldn't see any errors. Let's have a look. So we've got a successful build. So if we click on add, let's try and save a team. So Man United, save, and there we go. So we're populating to core data, which is great. So that is saving into core data. Just try another team, and that is working, but we do have an issue. So if we stop this and we restart it, you're not going to see any teams, and the reason why is because even though we're saving, we're not actually doing anything in Teams Controller to actually fetch those teams that we've just saved. So we have to do that with something called a fetch request. So the way we're going to do this, inside viewDidLow, we're just going to create a function called fetch core data teams. Again, we're going to utilize the singleton context that we've created. So we're going to say file private, make some room, and I forgot the func keyword, I believe. Yeah, file private func, not just file private. File private func. So let's use our context again. So we can just say, I think we'll need to import core data. Yep. So now we can just say let context equal to core data service. It's not building. Here we go. So yeah, let context equals core data service, which we've already used, .shared, .persistent container, .viewContext. So that's our context sorted. Now we have to create something called a fetch request. So this is to get all the teams that we've just saved into core data. So we say ns fetch request, and we're going to say entity name. You have to specify this twice. The syntax is a little bit weird on a fetch request, so you have to say entity name teams, and you also have to put it in brackets, otherwise it won't work. It's I always thought it was a little bit odd. So that's great, we've created those two. We now have to use them. So again, we have to do a do catch let, because it can throw. So we'll say catch let error, and we'll just print enable the fetch teams from core data, and then just show the error. And then we just say context.fetch, and then the request is the one we've just created above, fetch request. So that's getting all of our teams. What we'll do as well, we'll actually assign this to a constant so we can actually do something with it. So let my teams equals context.fetch request, and then we can just say my teams dot for each, and go inside the completion block, just call it team. I want to see those teams print below, so we'll just say print team dot name. So that's again from core data, and we'll use something called nil coalescing, which is basically to avoid the optional error. And then below we just have to use core data teams from this class. So self.coredataTeams is equal to myTeams, and then self.tableView.reload data to actually refresh that table in our list. So a little bit strange the syntax there. So we're just saying, yeah, I forgot the try. So it should be let myTeams equals try context.fetchRequest. So we're just utilizing our context. We're using a fetch request to get all the teams that we've saved into our entity. We're assigning that to just a constant called myTeams. So that myTeams basically holds all of our teams. And what we're doing then, we're just stuffing that inside coredataTeams by saying self.coredataTeams, which is our array. There it is. And then saying equal to myTeams. So that's how we're going to populate that array. So yeah, the syntax is quite long, but once you've done it a couple of times, you just have to type it out. You'll be fine. And let's build that. And there you go. We can see we're fetching all our teams. There's quite a few that we've saved. So we can test that again, and it's looking good. That's exactly what we want. So we're now fetching and saving into coredata. And let's just reload as well. And as you can see, those teams persist. So that's exactly what we want. And we've done quite a lot. We can see there, that's the fetch request that we're using. And the way coredata works, it's very slick. It's a great way of retaining data within your app. And this is, I think, the best way to do it, by using a singleton model. I'm just going to clear up some of these comments, just so it doesn't clutter our code. But other than that, great job today. So great job today, guys. We're now saving and we're fetching from coredata, and we're populating. We've got persistent storage. We've created a singleton model to handle our context. And yeah, next time we're going to actually be able to swipe and delete from coredata. So that's going to be another feature we're going to implement. So we look forward to that. But other than that, yeah, just subscribe to the channel, got loads of up and coming projects. I just posted a video today, so just to give you a taste of what's to come. But until then, I will see you next time.